This is an introduction to some of the types of functions that we've looked into the past. The first type of function that we're going to look at is a constant function. Now in a constant function, you have an equation where y equals a constant, or just a number. So in a constant function, we're going to start with where y is. So y equals 4. So we're going to look on the y-axis. We've got the y-axis and the x-axis. And on the y-axis, we're going to go up to 4. So y equals 4. And in a constant function, everything is equal to y equals 4, so we're going to draw a horizontal line along that constant function. Because we know in a constant function, it is going to be a horizontal line. The second type of function we're going to look at is a linear function. We talked about linear functions quite a bit in grade 10. And in a linear function, we have an equation that has two parts to it. Our constant of a linear function is the y-intercept, and the coefficient in front of the x variable is our slope. So if we start at the y-intercept, y equals -1, that's going to be that point right there. And from that point, we can use our slope. Now we know slope is equal to rise over run. And we know that that is 2 over 1, so we're going to go up 2 over 1, and we can continue this pattern until we have enough points to draw ourselves a line. And as you can see, a linear function always represents a straight line. The third type of function we're going to look at is a quadratic function. Now if I do a table of values to draw this quadratic function, I'm going to give some values to x, so I'll give it 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, 3, and -3. Now if I solve for y, I put 0 in for x, I go 0 squared, that means y is 0. I put 1 in for x, that means I've got 1 squared, so that's going to be 1. -1 squared is going to be 1. 2 squared, y is going to be 4. -2 squared is going to be 4. 3 squared is going to be 9. And -3 squared is going to be 9. So if I graph these points, I get a shape that we call a parabola. And this is a curved shape. We don't have linear graphs for quadratic equations. And to the best of my ability, I draw my curved line going through all of these points. And we call this shape a parabola. So the shape of a quadratic function is a parabola. Now the key to quadratic functions is this exponent right here. The 2 tells us that it's got a quadratic function. So if it's a exponent of 2, or a second degree polynomial, we would classify that function as quadratic. The final type of function that we're going to look at is a cubic function. And like a quadratic, a cubic function has an exponent. In this case, it's a 3. So we would classify all cubic functions as third degree polynomials. Now I'm going to draw this using a table of values again. So I'm going to give values for x. I'm going to use 0, 1, -1, 2, and -2. And if I solve my equation for y, 0 to the third power is 0, 1 to the third power is 1, -1 to the third power is -1, 2 to the third power is 8, and -2 to the third power is -8. So I'm going to graph these points. I'm going to start with 0, 0. 1, 1 means I go over 1 and up 1. -1, 1 means I go in the negative direction. And then I've got +2, +8, and I've got -2, -8. So I draw my shape in here, and that's the shape of a cubic function.